Hi everybody. I'm gonna have to upload a video for you all today. Facebook is having some technical difficulties, but today I'm gonna read you a story from Spider Spins' story, and the story I'm gonna read is Swift Runner and Trickster Tarantula. The only thing is that my story doesn't have pictures, so you're gonna have to just listen close and use your imagination to the best of your ability and hopefully you like it. So, many grandfathers ago, there was only one tarantula. He was a big, hairy spider as big as a man who dressed in ragged gray blue clothing. Tarantula lived in a cave at the base of Thunder Mountain. Every sunrise, Tarantula was awakened by the sound of horn bells. He knew the bells were part of the sacred regalia worn by a young Zuni man called Swift Runner. Swift Runner, son of a Zuni priest chief, would someday take his father's place. Each morning before prayers, Swift Runner dressed himself in his sacred garments and raced as fast as he could around Thunder Mountain so that when the time came, he would be strong enough to dance the strenuous prayer dances of the chiefs. Tarantula envied Swift Runner's white fringed leggings and the feathers tied in his hair. He envied him his bell of hornbells and his magnificent sparkling necklaces and earrings. Tarantula spent much of the day wondering how he could trick away Swift Runner's resplendent regalia. One morning, as the red streaks of dawn reached upward in the east sky above the distant mesas, Tarantula waited for Swift Runner to appear. "Young friend," he called as Swift Runner ran towards him. "Come here, I want to talk to you." "I must hurry, I will not complete my run before my prayer," said Swift Runner. "I will not delay you long," said Tarantula. Impatiently, Swift Runner stopped. "What do you want?" he asked. "You have the most beautiful clothing I've ever seen," said Tarantula. "I wish you could see yourself the way I see you." Though Swift Runner was in a hurry, curiosity got the better of him. "How can I?" he asked. "Take off your clothing," said Tarantula, "and I will take off mine. Then I will put on your regalia so you can see how splendid you look." Swift Runner was young and foolish. He didn't know what a trickster tarantula was. He laid his hornbelt, his earrings and necklaces, his braided many-colored headband, and his finely crafted moccasins, along with the rest of his sacred clothing, on the ground. As fast as Swift Runner set down his finery, Tarantula dressed himself in beautiful garments. "How do I look?" asked Tarantula, struggling to fit his 8 knobby legs and round hairy body into Swift Runner's clothing. Swift Runner took a long look at Tarantula. "I don't think the regalia looks quite the same on me," he said. "If I move away, you will see it better," said Tarantula. He backed toward the entrance to his cave. "How do I look now?" "Better," said Swift Runner, "but it's still hard to imagine that the regalia looks the same on me." "Let me move back a little farther," said Tarantula. "Now look at me." "Splendid," said Swift Runner. Aha! Tarantula turned quickly and disappeared into his cave. "Come out," cried Swift Runner. "I must be on my way and I need my regalia." Swift Runner could hear Tarantula laughing from deep within the cave. No matter how much Swift Runner coaxed and cajoled, Tarantula would not come out. When Swift Runner realized he'd been outsmarted, he did the only thing he could. He put on Tarantula's dingy brown leggings, breechcloth, and cape and returned home. His father, the priest chief, was waiting for him. "Where have you been, Swift Runner, and why are you dressed so shabbily?" "Tarantula tricked me," said Swift Runner. "He took my sacred clothing and disappeared into his cave." "Well, ask the warrior chief," said his father. "He will know how to get your sacred clothing back from Tarantula." The warrior chief gathered the Zuni people together. "Bring your digging sticks to the cave at Thunder Mountain. We will dig Tarantula out." From sundown to sunup to sundown, the people dug. Dirt piled in mounds around them. They dug all the way to the solid rock core of Thunder Mountain, but there was no sign of Tarantula. When the people returned to the village, Swift Runner's father called on the elders for help. "Let's seek the advice of Great Kingfisher," said the elders. "We have seen the way he swoops down and snatches even the fastest fish out of the river. Kingfisher will know how to retrieve Swift Runner's clothing." Flying like the wind, Swift Runner set out at once for the hill where Kingfisher lived. "Tarantula is very cunning and keen-sighted," said Kingfisher. "It will not be easy to get your clothes back, but I'll try my best." Finally, Tarantula strutted out of his cave wearing Swift Runner's regalia. He looked all around to see if anyone was watching. His keen eye spotted the tip of Kingfisher's bill. Aha, I see you hiding there, said Tarantula. Kingfisher spread his wings and swooped down upon Tarantula, but Tarantula was too fast. Kingfisher had barely brushed the feathers on Tarantula's headdress when he jumped back into his hole, laughing with glee. The sound of Tarantula's victory song followed Kingfisher as he flew back to the Zuni village. My best was not good enough, said Kingfisher. There's nothing more I can do. The elder sent for Great Eagle. Your eyes are 7 times sharper than the eyes of our people, said the elders. Will you help us get back Swift Runner's sacred clothing? Eagle sharpened his talons. Tarantula is cunning and king-sighted, as my brother Kingfisher said, but I'll do my best. From his high perch on a distant peak, Eagle kept first one eye and then on the other on Tarantula's cave. He watched and waited. He didn't have to wait long. The moment Tarantula poked his hairy head out of the opening, Eagle dove at him, but Tarantula saw Eagle coming. Before Eagle's talons could do more than pluck a feather from Tarantula's headdress, the speedy spider ducked back into his cave. What a well-dressed, clever trickster I am, sang Tarantula, dancing a victory dance. Sadly, Eagle flew back to the Zuni village. You are our last hope, Falcon, said the elders. You are the fastest of the feathered beings. You are quicker than Kingfisher and as mighty as Eagle. With your brown and gray feathers, the color of rocks, Tarantula will not see you. Surely you can get Swift Runner's sacred clothing back. I'll try my best, said Falcon. The next morning when Tarantula poked his ugly face out of the cave, he saw nothing. Thinking he was safe, he stepped away from the opening. Falcon flew down upon Tarantula, and before Tarantula knew what had happened, Falcon snatched away the feathered headdress. Shaking with fright, Tarantula crawled back into his cave. Oh, my glorious feathers are gone, he cried, but luckily that nasty Falcon did not take my fine shirt, handsome leggings, and beautiful moccasins. They are worth far more than a fistful of feathers. I am still the best dressed and cleverest trickster. Falcon carried the feather headdress back to the Zuni village. This is the best I could do, he said. Thank you, said Swift Runner. These feathers are very precious to me. There's only one thing left to do, said the elders. Swift Runner, you must journey to the top of Thunder Mountain and ask for help from the war gods, Ahayuta and Matsalima. Maybe they can get your sacred clothes back from Tarantula. The Zuni villagers bundled together their most valuable possessions for Swift Runner to take as gifts for the gods. It was late in the day when Swift Runner reached the flat-roofed house where the war gods lived with their grandmother, Spider-Woman. A young man is here, Spider-Woman said, calling the war gods from their games. He has brought us gifts. The 2 tiny war gods, small as dwarfs, sat down across from Swift Runner. No stranger comes to another's house for no reason, they said. Why have you come? I bring gifts for my people, said Swift Runner. I also bring you a problem and hope for your help. Tarantula has stolen my sacred clothing. Great Kingfisher, Great Eagle, and Falcon have all tried to get it back and failed. It is good you came, said the war gods. Only we can out-trick the trickster Tarantula. Spider-Woman gathered white sandstone rocks and ground them until they were fine as flour. Then she added water to the flour and made a dough. Amazed, Swift Runner watched the 2 war gods mold the dough into 2 deer and 2 antelope. Tarantula loves to hunt, explained the war gods. Take these animals and place them on a rock shelf across from Tarantula's cave. Swift Runner did as he was told. Then he returned to the village. Make yourselves ready, he said to the people. The Zuni warriors sharpened their arrows and restrung their bows. Before dawn, the war party set out. Swift Runner was the first to arrive at Thunder Mountain. To his surprise, the rock and flower animals had come to life. They were walking along the edge, nibbling grass. So here's a picture. Here's a picture from the story. The one and only picture that's in the book. And we'll continue on. At sunrise, Tarantula came out of his cave. Ah, deer and antelope, he said. It is time for a hunt. He picked up his bow and arrow and was about to leave when he stopped himself. Swift Runner will be looking for me. I must be careful. Tarantula searched behind the twin columns where Kingfisher had hidden. He peered across at the tall peak where Eagle had perched. He strained to catch a sight of Falcon's rock-colored feathers. He looked up and down the valley. If my keen eyes see no one, there is no one. Tarantula pulled back on his bowstring and aimed. He felled the first deer with his first arrow. The second arrow struck the heart of the second deer. The third and fourth arrow downed the two antelope. "What a great hunter I am," he boasted. Tarantula lashed together the legs of the first deer and hoisted it onto his back. Just as he started to rise, he was knocked flat and almost crushed. "Yee!" he cried. "What happened?" Tarantula looked around. The deer was gone. Piled on his back and all around him was white sandstone. Tarantula picked up the other deer. The instant he lifted it onto his back, the deer changed into white sandstone and knocked him flat. "These deer have some sort of magic," he said. "I will try an antelope." But like the deer, the first antelope turned to sandstone. As Tarantula was tying the legs of the last antelope, he heard shouting. Zuni warriors were swarming into the canyon. Tarantula left the antelope and ran as fast as his knobby legs would carry him toward his cave. The warriors blocked the entrance surrounding Tarantula. They tore off Swift Runner's braided headband and his beautiful moccasins. They yanked the earrings from Tarantula's ears until he screamed in pain. "Please don't hurt me," cried Tarantula. "I'll give you Swift Runner's clothing back if you will just leave me alone." "Tarantula is too cunning and clever, too big and powerful to be allowed to go free," said the elders. "The only way to rid the world of Tarantula and his trickery is to roast him." The people built an enormous fire so large it lit up the sky like a sunset. When the fire was as hot as a fire can get, they threw the big, hairy, knobby-legged spider into the flames. He sizzled and hissed, he screamed and swelled. He swelled into a gigantic gray-blue ball. Tarantula had one trick left. When he burst, he exploded into millions of pieces, each piece becoming a tiny version of Trickster Tarantula himself. The end. So that was an interesting story. That was a very interesting story. I kind of liked it. It was a little fun. I hope you guys liked it too. Sorry there were no pictures. I wish there was, because that would have been an awesome story for you guys to see. But yeah, hope you liked it. Have a good day.